Hi, Sagittarius. Okay, I tried to do this yesterday. Past few days, there's been a lot of geological activity. I found out when I was in Pakistan when I was 14 that before earthquakes, I have a tendency to puke. But it's not just earthquakes, it's just like disturbances. I usually have a very strong stomach, but for some things, it's my inner ear that, it feels like when you get on those rides that spin, can't do the spinning. All right, so I'm going to approach this reading differently, not the way that I was approaching it yesterday, because it just wasn't working. Maybe because then I had to puke, but I think that there's a lot going on and all of it's important. But I think that the most important thing for you is that Venus will move into your sign on the 17th. And right now, Sag rising, it's in your 12th house. Sag sun, right behind you, pushing on you. So, although many, many important things are happening, and as the cards fall, we will look at them in the context of that astrology, the main focus is from the 17th onward. Okay, first card out is that Queen of Swords. So Jupiter is in Gemini and it will go retrograde on the 8th of October. So for you, what the actual fuck? Okay, so Jupiter's in Gemini and bottom of the deck here is the Ten of Swords followed by that dreaded Four of Pentacles. So Jupiter goes retrograde and communication is just not going the way you want it to go. There are so many misunderstandings. There are errors in communication that really show the cracks. Especially, they show the cracks in relationships that you have been putting a lot of faith in. Let me give you an example. You may believe very deeply that your friends love you, support you, want to support you. You may give them an opportunity to support you. They may not take it. In any other time period, I would say, you're right. You should have friends who love you and support you. However, Jupiter goes retrograde and you feel completely justified in feeling betrayed by your friends. But it turns out that for one reason or another, it wasn't communicated to them properly what you were actually doing, how you were doing it, and what you expected from them. So although the argument can be made, they could have stepped up and supported you anyway, on the other hand, they're justified in believing that they weren't directed properly. Now, maybe that's a weak example, but you will come across situations where you feel that the people who should be there for you are not there for you. That situationships, relationships you're in or want to get into aren't giving you the feedback you want. For one reason or another, maybe they're playing games, maybe they're not. But you're not satisfied with the level of reciprocity. And that's just simply what it is. And what Jupiter in retrograde ends up doing, because Sag rising, it's your house of relationships, Sag sun, this is right across from you. It's a stress test. It shows you the cracks. Now, what you do with those cracks that you see is up to you. The retrograde has you, befuddled in terms of the direction you should take with the knowledge that you acquire. You're not really sure what to do with the cracks that you can see now. Do you cut off all your friends because they didn't support you? Or do you give them all a second chance because they just didn't get it? Or do you say nothing, harbor resentment, and slowly push away from everyone? Anything is possible. The solar eclipse on the 2nd has left us all feeling lonely. Just unsupported. People are not there for you like they should be, and they're not there for anybody like they should be. But you are taking it personal, and I know exactly why. Because you are there for people. People don't usually ask you unless they want the issue solved. So maybe you're not the first person they run to, because usually people don't want their problem solved. But once they're ready to have that arrow fly and hit that target and be done with whatever it is, or move on from whatever it is, or actually solve whatever it is and evolve, they come to you. So you're not just there for people, although in any respect it's noble, but you're not just there for people in the everyday when they need you. You're probably off doing something fabulous and not there for them in those moments. But when people really fucking need you, when things are important, when things are life-changing, you're there. You're there. And you're aware of how deep and important those moments are for people and what you impart to them. And so it boggles your mind that when something is important to you, that these people are not there. You just don't feel supported, and the solar eclipse has put a light, like that ring of fire, it burned into your head. Like these people that you have spent so much time nurturing, even though it's not in your nature, not really. It didn't create that spark in them because you have this, eternal flame in you. That's always how I picture you. Never as the arrows in the quiver, never as someone hitting a target, never as like a half horse, but for some reason you, to me, are the endless flame that, Prometheus tips his arrow in and shoots it across the world to us. You're not just the arrow that carries that fire, you're the fire. And so to feel so alone when you thought perhaps you had lit these little fires everywhere, that's a pretty good series. Perhaps you thought you had lit some fires and that you had quite a lot of burning embers out there. And then you say, here's my thing, or SOS, or buy my new product, and they are just gone. And it makes you want to emotionally step away from everything, and even the moon is like, yeah. The moon's making this face. This is neither here nor there, but I was married to a Sag Scorpio cusp for like 10 years, and he would get so irritated by the horizontal smile because my smile is very exaggerated. But when I am pretending to be happy and I'm not, straight across. That's my best smile. Anyway, forget it. You're so done with people. I'm not saying doing your reading made me puke. I'm saying you are so done with people that you want to puke. Like you're disgusted. It takes a lot to get you there. Like you're pretty cool with the ick. A lot of people like Virgo moon, okay? A lot of people are like, ick me out, Sagittarians are always the ones with me who are like, come on, get it together. Like, you know, Sagittarians are the ones that'll like take a hair out of their food and be like, that's my hair, and keep eating. For you to be icked out, it has to be something ideological. This is about principles now. People are not there for you. And it doesn't make any sense because they really should be. They really should be. It's not nice, huh? What's happening? It's not nice. And there's a lot of uncertainty. And of course, when you're feeling, what I have written here is uncertainty that makes you want to, that scares you away from love for a while. And not just love, like loving anybody. It's not just about love. And no wonder this reading was making my, because like, as a Cancer rising, it's heartbreaking that you feel this way. And you're also being toyed with. So this is more of like the old kind of readings that we used to do. But just off of these cards, it just feels like somebody has all the power in a dynamic with you. And they know it. And instead of it making them at all decent or have some empathy or some feeling towards you, instead it's just, well, you're like a fish on a hook. And I think what you need to do is be brave. Because whatever this situationship is, it's more lust than love. If you haven't come across this person yet, Mars in Cancer, Mars in the 8th, Sag rising, it brings it. But it's lust, it's not love, it's a distraction. And for some of you, it's been distracting you for a while. You have been cutting yourself off from other people for this. You're acting foolish. I've never said that in a reading before, but you are. You're acting foolish because, and it's not your fault, because Mars in the 8th makes you want to merge spirit. It makes you want to, with someone. And lust and love there's a fine line between the two, especially for a fucking fire sign, especially for a Sag. I would even say that for a Sag, perhaps lust is the road to love. But this is not that. This is you misinterpreting an energy that just wants to connect. It wants to feel loved. It wants to feel next to somebody. And you have all this loneliness draped all over you. You have all this uncertainty. You have all this abandonment, this neglect, this pain. So the idea of merging with someone, never being left stranded again, it just feels so good. And lust feels so good. And it's so easy to merge that and think, yes, this is it. This is, and then if that person can't be wrangled, or if that person can't be handled, then now we're dealing with something devastating, really. What is this? There's something on my shirt. If anything touches my arms, I get like weird. So now this person, this thing, it could be something secret. It may be something that nobody knows about. You don't want them to know about it. And whatever the reasons are for that, that's fine. But I think this energy is being poorly used in this way. So let's talk about how you could use this energy instead of wishing something into your life. How could you better use this urge to come together? Where else could this be directed? And from there, it's a great segue into October 17th and Venus moving into your sign. Because if you think you want to merge right now, wait till the 17th. Then it's like everything you want is going to make sense to you. Like, oh yeah, this is the person. I should marry this person. And it's a person you've been fucking for like 4 weeks. Sorry. Okay. Or like obsessed with for 3. But Venus moves into your sign and baby, you want to move fast. Nobody can hold you back. You're cursing at the screen as we speak. Like, bitch, shut up. I'm going to do what I know. I know what I know. I'm going to do what I want. Baba, you want some water? You okay? Let's talk about it. Well, before we talk about that, actually, let's talk about the 13th of October. So 4 days before Venus moves into your sign, you, somewhere between now and the 13th, you just stop caring. May have already happened. You feel abandoned. You feel neglected. The reality is the reality. Some test or other has been fucking failed. That's it. Forget it. And you just don't care. And on the 13th, not caring can produce very good luck. Because when you don't care, now we've had this conversation about the game show host. When you don't care, very cool things can happen. It like starts as nothing. It's casual. It's like you don't give a shit. You don't care. You just don't care. Your being is dry. Here's the thing, when you guys are trying to like flirt or be cute, you can be like very, like I said, like game show, you can. But when you don't care, you're very dry. And you're hella attractive and you're dry. And it's like an unbeatable combination. It's so good. And yeah, that's basically where you're at by the 13th. You're the most attractive that you can be because you just don't give a fuck. You're so disappointed. It's so weird that that's when the Gemini Sagittarius axis would be the most attractive, but it's so true. It's like just the right tone down for our personalities that we need for everyone else to like sit up and take notice and be like, wow, that person's really hot, because we're usually like talking or thinking or doing a mile a minute, so people don't have time to actually realize how hot we are. And then sometimes we're just fucking fed up, we're like super tired, something. And then it's like our real personality comes out, not the one for stage. That personality can attract someone that at first just seems like, but promising. Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, this person, like, you're gonna think they don't have any money, but they do. They have money. This person, because I was like, yeah, right, with the Page of Pentacles, that's not what I'm getting. No. This starts off as something like, because you don't care. You're just like, whatever. It's perfect. Go with it. However apathetic you feel right now, go with it. Go with it. And it's not my place to say this, but if you're having that particular issue where you're like, my friends don't give a fuck about me, or my friends aren't supporting me, or what the fuck is wrong with my friends, I have this to say to you. They're fucked up. Most of the people that know you use you because you're very useful. And it's fucked up that that's how people are. But that's how people are. And I know that you're selective in how you make friends. And I'm sure that you vet them for being genuine and useful like you are. But I think what always fails you is that people are really good at pretending, and you're notoriously bad at it. And I think it genuinely hurts you when you realize that someone's been pretending, because words matter to you and words mean something. So when people say words to you, you take them literally, And so when you realize that they just were not serious at all, you have to admit to yourself that they were playing a role. And that's really difficult for you. I think it upsets your larger worldview. There's a level of honesty and directness that Sagittarius expects from everyone. And yet, you're kind of okay with like deception as well. But this isn't deception. It's betrayal. It's different. Deception is somebody fucks you over, lies to you, whatever, you know? Tell you one thing, it's another. Betrayal is somebody that has your trust. They gained your trust. They worked for your trust. You've been there for them. They've been there for you. You have a relationship. You put weight on that. And as soon as you put any weight on it, it fell through the floor. Okay, now let's talk about Venus in your sign. So Venus moves into your sign, and it's going to make some interesting... It's going to go into some dynamic... Six of Pentacles. It's going to make some moves. It's going to dance with Saturn in a few ways that will either be taken one of two ways by you. Very fitting. Okay. Either Venus moves into your sign, does its little irritating Saturn dance, and it makes you feel every limitation that can be put on your dreams. Every limitation just screams at you. It just pops right off the page at you. You're not doing this right, this. Or you're gonna look at every single thing that pops off the page and you're gonna go, oh, I can find a solution for that. I think I have something in my toolkit. I think I have just the arrow for that. The difference is determined by your ego. Venus moves into your sign, you think it's a time of, great flattery and great sociability. And yes, that's true. But on a deeper level, it will show you the constraints behind every one of your dreams. It will show you the obstacles that stand between you and the fruition of these dreams. It will show you every drawback that your current approach has, and it may hurt your feelings. It may discourage you. But there's two ways that you can take that discouragement. You can turn it into fuel, because every one of those obstacles is just a problem and you are a problem solver and you can get it done. Or every one of those obstacles will eat at you a little more and bring you down. You can make yourself a victim of Venus moving into your sign and giving you that Saturnian truth when it comes to your greatest ambitions. You can hate Saturn for doing that, but it will come of nothing. It will help you in no way. It will just make you feel more lonely, more isolated, more betrayed. Let's take the example again of being betrayed by friends. When Venus moves into your sign, you will begin to understand every reason behind every one of those friendships going the way that it has, and what was the actual source of that person's betrayal. You can choose to be extremely hurt by that, wounded. Or you can realize where the empty spots, and it's like playing Mad Libs, where are the empty spots in that story that you have filled in, And how do you need to fill those boxes in better the next time you're in a friendship like that, relationship like that? You can learn or you can be upset. Saturn doesn't give a fuck either way, but it's going to tell you what it is. Venus wants you to put on those rose-colored glasses and say, everything is great, everything is fine, I'm killing it. But somewhere in the back of your mind, Saturn's like, you don't have enough inventory, or you're only texting that guy over and over again because you want a form of self-worth from him that you don't have yourself. Or, you know, your friends didn't show up for you the way that you thought they would because they're not good friends. You know, you have these truths and you can grapple with them. You can become upset by them. You can affect your own safety and happiness by getting stuck here, especially if you have Scorpio placements. You can get stuck here. And the sun is moving into Scorpio, so it's like you can really get stuck here. The sun will move Sag rising into your 12th house. You can really get stuck and feel like not just a victim, but like somebody who is actively being hurt still, okay? Now, if you look at it in terms of problem solving and finding solutions, you're going to find that Mars in Cancer really helps you, and it directs your focus to long-term goals, and you realize pretty quickly that that's exactly what Saturn was doing. Saturn was just trying to get you to see that even though what you're doing, what you're working at, what you've created, who you're with, whatever it is, even though short-term it may look fine, it's not to, you know, destabilize the party. It's not to be a wet blanket. It's just that long-term, that approach, that business plan, that relationship model, whatever it is, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So you become more focused if you treat this energy properly, and if you treat yourself with love, you become much more focused on what does a change of decision right now look like in a year, 5 years, 10 years. And if right now you're thinking, I'm not thinking that far out. Well, no, not yet. But the change that happens within you when Venus moves into your sign and comes into aspect with Saturn is so powerful that if you don't know what to do with it, you can feel like the world is against you, because you have all these people and situations popping up that are reminding you that there are obstacles, and it can feel, you know, you're already, like I said, feeling lonely, you're feeling disenfranchised from people, from your community, from your group. So it can be difficult to take all these obstacles manifesting as people, conversations, situations. It can feel like it's closing in on you, but only because the short term is not important. Pisces and Saturn wants to look at things through the lens of your dreams. And your dreams require long-term commitment and action. That's all it is. Okay, we have a lot more to talk about. So let's do that in the extended. I love you. Let's look at the cards. All the links are below. Oh, and we're going to do the preview for the extended right now, but also for the cross watchers before I move on. It is very important to stop playing with Sagittarians' feelings. Just because they seem tough, rugged even, does not mean that they aren't sensitive. They are sensitive. They're just sensitive in a different way. It's not they're sensitive and they don't show it. No, they're just sensitive in a different way. And if you've made the mistake of offending them on that philosophical level, ideological, where it does offend them. Their sensitivities are really heightened because once they've been hurt, they're looking for the next hurt. They're trying to establish now and see if this is a pattern within you, or they've already realized it's a pattern within you and they've given up on you. Either way, I think it would do you some good to examine if you're even right for a person that you would have so little in common with on a level that's so important. And if you don't want to have those deeper conversations and that's not what's important to you, it may just be that. Sometimes the kindest thing a Sagittarius can do is leave you alone, because the answer they would give you is that you're too shallow. You're not interested in the right things. You don't care about the right things. And that's what they're grappling with in general all through the fall and the winter. So if that is something that you feel that you've been accused of, take a minute, look at yourself, look at whatever it is that you guys were talking about, examine what your feelings are about it, and really think about why you'd want to be with that person. Is it just because they're hot? Is it just because they're interesting, they're funny? They are all of those things. They still deserve to be with someone who likes them for who they are, and not just as the shiniest trophy in your case. I know the urge to pen up a thoroughbred is very strong because they're so precious that you don't want them getting hurt. But if you don't let these horses run free, you offend them on a fundamental level. There's no way to be with the Sagittarius without understanding what freedom really means. And if ideologically you can't get there to that level where they are with that, then you need to leave them alone. Or get with the program and keep up. Okay, love you. That was good, right? That's what they needed to hear. It's Batman Begins. Hi Sagittarius, welcome to your preview for your extended. I am going to give you the broad strokes of what we'll be speaking about so we can get right to it because we have a lot to talk about. The first part of the month is about understanding your physical limits. Let's talk about fatigue. If you feel like you just can't do anything, and even when you're made to do stuff, you have intense brain fog, it's all the signs, but it's hitting you really hard. It may read to you like sadness. For a lot of you, because of how abandoned you feel, it may read like depression. But there is a very real possibility that you are physically just very, very tired. Okay? That trine that we have with Venus in your sign, Mars, and, sorry, not Venus in your sign. The trine that we have with Venus in Scorpio, Mars in Cancer, Saturn in Pisces, it gives you this energy where you feel like you can do so much. And then when you try to get it done, the drain happens so quickly. It's tantamount to charging your phone. It's on 100%. You've been out for 40 minutes. You look at your phone, it's on 3%. Doesn't make any sense, but your energy is just bottoming out so quickly. And it's because that trine is pulling. It's pulling on you. So from now until the 17th, you learn about your physical limitations in accordance with what you want to get done with your ambitions, okay? The latter half of the month, from the 17th onward, when Venus is in your sign, now you are taught about your emotional limitations, right? So this is why we went on ad nauseum about how do you view the criticisms that you receive once Venus moves into your sign? It's to teach you emotional limitations. Where are those invisible barriers for you that other people can't see, but more importantly, you can't see? You can't see the lines, and you need to be able to see the lines. So, you know how in movies, when they're trying to get through a bunch of lasers, they'll put smoke in the room so you can see the lasers? Think of this month as first showing you where the lasers are when it comes to your physical competency. And don't get too stuck on whatever you find out, because it's only for this month. The reason you're not buckling, but the reason you may feel like you're buckling, the reason you may feel like there's too much being put on you, is because you're finding your edges, you're finding your boundaries, but they're not set. Don't become saddened at the idea of a static boundary. That's not true. It's just for right now because you have so much ambition overwhelming you. So it's teaching you where the meeting point is between what you want and what you're capable of physically, and how much you're capable of understanding and learning emotionally without taking it personal. So in many ways, October is a harsh but effective business guide, and a harsh but effective guide to how to socialize with people as well. How much energy do you really have to give, and when is it time to call it a night? This is what we'll be discussing at length, and we also have to talk about career and money, which of course ties into all this. Your reading is very holistic this time around because everything is tying in so perfectly and seamlessly with everything else, which is what you always want, right? But it's because the energy that's coming at you is so pronounced right now. And like I said, you may feel a victim to it, of it. And that's okay. It's okay to feel like things are bearing down on you. We all feel like that sometimes. Excuse me. But there is purpose here. This is not suffering for the sake of suffering, and that's important to remember. There is direction and purpose here. It's just a lot of redirection before we get there. And being as direct as you are, that's annoying. But take each one of these detours for what it is and learn something about yourself. And when this month is over, inshallah, and we're in November and we're, heading quickly into your season, I think you will look back fondly on what you learned. And my belief is that it will help you for many, many years to come. This is the origin story. Something you started, but you got to set it right. Something you started, but it wasn't quite right. Now you got to reset it. You have all this input, and if you take it just as input and you roll along with it, and there are many, many ways that you can do that we're going to talk about. It's good. It's good stuff. You look back on a very hard but productive month. Might even become invaluable to you with time. Alrighty. All the links are below. You can watch the extended on Patreon and Vimeo as a direct PayPal link sent to your email. And there's a link below for personal readings, which is just a recorded reading about 10 to 12 minutes long that's sent to your inbox. Alrighty. I loves yous. I'll see you in a minute.